from RBI Baseball here in Regina, baseball and softball, I must say. Chris Untereiner. Chris, welcome to the show, my good man. How is
Clark,
it going with you?
Good. I'm hoping I got this all hooked up correctly.
It looks fine to me. I can see you and hear you, so that's step 1 and 2.
Yeah, I forgot to set up my light ring. I think you're using yours. I'm not using mine today.
Yeah, I got 2 actually set up. I got the double angle. I have to all the help I can get. It's one of those situations.
Yeah.
And then I got the blue lights on the ceiling that kind of make it a little bit of a different background. But
it looks good.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, Chris, there's a ton going on, and we're going to jump right into it happening over at RBI Baseball and Softball here in Regina. The weather's not cooperating, but outside of that.
Oh, it's definitely getting us to look forward to getting on the field and getting into the spring, that's for sure.
Yeah, so tell me about it, because I know that you're right in the middle of some big training sessions going on right now, and you have some new gear that I want to touch on a little bit later, so you can get into that kind of as you're going. But first off, for those who might not know, because again, Chris, we haven't had you on in a bit, so I want to kind of get everyone reacquainted with you here. What is RBI's kind of main thing, and how has it been going so far in the training this winter?
Things are rolling, man. So obviously we specialize in baseball and softball training, group training, private lessons, specialty groups, pitching, hitting, catching, fielding, you kind of name it, we offer it. We cater our training programs to kids 7 to college age. Kids, we've got kids now. I was having a conversation with one of the boys here, and they're like 2 years away from spending like 3/4 of their life at RBI. They're those loyal kids that we're looking to take off to college one of these days here. So, we cater to them all. Right now we're rolling right into the evaluation prep phase of our training. So the kids, evaluations are a month away or so for baseball and softball. So a lot of kids are thinking about getting back into it a little bit. Maybe the kids that aren't, in November and December when we're running our programs are thinking about hockey and basketball. Now they're starting to think about baseball or softball. So they're getting into programs now to get in shape.
I was just gonna say, like you said, like I just love to hear the stories of the kids who've been there, because I've worked a little bit with you over the years, and I've seen some of the kids grow up a little bit myself, so I can't imagine you seeing them all the time. So some of these kids now are graduating high school and getting secondary opportunities. So can you kind of talk about that kind of process and how rewarding it is for you, Chris, to see some of your kids that you've worked with for years now getting these opportunities after high school?
Yeah, there's a lot of these kids that, whether it's myself or some of our other main instructors, that have known since they were like 12 years old. And now this is like, they'd be 5 or 6 years into our programs, and now we're looking to send them off. But, for a lot of these kids, it just kind of starts out in the stages of just keeping in shape and enjoying the game of baseball. And then they start to realize that, holy crap, there's some options here that, might allow me to play baseball beyond high school. And more kids throughout the province are getting these opportunities. And there's opportunities in Canada too. Whereas Clark, when we went to Monterey, it was you kind of just had to go south. Otherwise you didn't go anywhere. And now there's options. There's south, there's northern states, there's all over Canada. So there's a home for all of these kids. And that's one of the biggest things for our players and that we preach, is that, you can be at any level and you're still going to get every opportunity that's going to fit what's going to, suit you. You might not be the top 1%, but I guarantee if you put the work in that, you do in the classroom and you do on the turf and you do in the weight room, that we're going to find somewhere that a coach is going to love to have you on their program, and you get to play a little bit of baseball while you're getting an education. And if there's money involved, bonus, but if not, you're getting life experiences. And, those are the kids we're catering to. It's not just the top 5%.
Yeah. And something I learned real quick when you and I went down to, hold on one second. I got something to show you.
Oh boy.
Through my closet earlier, and
is it going to be really sweaty?
No, I haven't worn it in a while. But
there it is.
I got the hoodie. From
original.
MPC. Yeah, this is the OG. Absolutely.
I think mine's full of paint right now.
Yeah, yeah. What is it with all of my? Amy stole my shirts. I had a couple of shirts from back in the day. They look
Yeah.
exactly the same, and
Yeah.
they're just covered in paint. I think
Yeah,
she
they all
used
of a
them in
sudden
her
become
daycare.
project clothing.
Yeah, she used them for her daycare, I think, and let the kids, wear them for painting and stuff. And
Yeah.
they're not really wearable anymore. But
Yeah.
either way, one thing I learned really quick with this experience of going down there is a lot of kids coming out of high school, maybe they just need to work on a couple of things. Or maybe, there's an undersized kid who's really good, but he just doesn't fit the mold of a Division I school. Or
Yeah.
maybe there's a pitcher who's really good, but he just needs to add some velocity and, build up his body a little bit or whatever it is. But there's so many kids that just, if you get in a little bit of an opportunity at a community college or a junior college or an academy somewhere like in Vauxhall, for example, or somewhere like that, and they can work on a few things, maybe it leads to another opportunity down the road. Is that something that you've kind of been preaching to a lot of kids?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think the biggest thing that's developing is that you don't even really need to necessarily go elsewhere throughout high school. With having the training facilities that we have, and all of the opportunities that they're going to be getting, all the connections that all of our instructors have with coaches throughout the country here in Canada and then throughout the United States is, as long as they're getting their work in the classroom is number one, but then on the turf and in the weight room, their numbers are going to play at the next level, and the coaches need to see that. The travel ball experience down in the States is, there's a lot of it and it's not necessary. What it comes down to is our kids need to be athletes and they need to play as many sports as they can until it's time to start thinking about, that next level. But you look at all of these kids that are going on to the next level now, they are not all just baseball players. They play hockey, even if it's just rec hockey. They play basketball, they play volleyball, and they stay athletic that way. And as long as they, if they have the goal of going on to college, well, of course, their priority is going to be when it's time to think about baseball, it's time to think about baseball. But never are we going to say you can't play anything else. And we're always going to cater to their schedules to make sure that, if you only get once or twice a week to get your baseball focus in, then let's do it. And softball included too. We're not just talking baseball here too, right? So as long as the kids are staying athletic and the kids are getting the opportunities, which every year there's more and more opportunities available for all skills at all levels, then, we're going to send them somewhere. If they want to do it, we're going to send them there.
Absolutely. I got a great question here for you from Uncle Robin up in Prince Albert. He says, how do you add velocity with backspin and slow pitch? My rotation's pretty good. I just need a little extra heat. So what would you recommend, Chris? Is there any workouts you could add for some slow pitch, a little backspin there?
A little bit of backspin. I'd say first let's get into the squat rack and then we'll get the bench press going. And then what are other really heavy lifts that we can
the rotator
really
cuffs. You really got to get the rotator cuffs going with the underhand there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe some shoulder bands. I don't know.
Yeah.
Get something like that in there. There you go, Robin. We'll take care of you, Robin. You just make your way down to RBI and Chris will take care of you.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not necessarily in your age demographic, Chris, but I think you can make some exceptions.
That's okay. I don't know if there's any age eligibility left in college for him, but
never know.
We can find somewhere for him.
They could add a slow pitch program like that, and then by the end of next year, they're going to have full ride scholarships for slow pitch. Who knows?
That's right.
Robin said, "Oh, here we go." He says, "You mean I have to stretch?"
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
might help. Depends. Chris, you mentioned to me earlier that you have a new piece of gear that you're pretty excited about. Now, I will say from even just working with you a couple of years ago now, it feels like it's been a while, but there was always a lot of cool gear that you guys used, including your hit tracks, which is like a hitting simulator almost. You had those balls with the technology in them that could read things. You had certain, radars and lasers and all these things. Maybe not lasers, but we'll get there. Baseball's getting the lasers.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of cool stuff. Now you've added something new.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the new gear that you got there?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is, I mean, as we know, with everything is technology is starting to take over the world, and we try to keep it as simple as we can. But anytime something pops up that we know is going to benefit our athletes, we're going to jump on it. So the newest one we just rolled out is it's used with the Oculus Quest VR system, which I've used once in my entire life. But the app is called Win Reality, and it's a pitch recognition software that's used. So the players will put the VR on, and we'll basically set them in a corner, and they'll stare at a wall, and we'll laugh at them because they're diving out of the way of pitches. But there's so many different tools with it. Right now, our biggest focus is just getting them to start to see off-speed spin. So a pitcher will actually deliver a pitch, and then we can establish what drill we're going to do. So right now we're working on recognizing fastball and curveball. So we'll set the pitch velocity according to kind of what this age group is. Side note on this, high school level is considered 96 miles an hour, which I don't know where we are, but that seems a little bit ridiculous.
96.
96.
You sure that's not kilometers?
Yeah, no, I know. So we got our high school kids seeing about 92, and they're crushing it. So you can pick up spin, you can pick up location. There's disappearing pitches, man. It's unbelievable. And I think we've used it for about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And I think we've seen over 2,000 additional pitches for our athletes. So the kids just standing in a corner rather than just having an aimless break station. They fire this thing on and they see, in a round of say 10 with a kid hitting in the cage, they'll see an extra 10 or 15 pitches. And I mean, an extra 2,000 pitches in 2.5 weeks, like that's going to go a long way for us. So we're really excited about that one.
Yeah. And baseball, I mean, you can attest to this, but it is so much just seeing, seeing stuff, getting used to seeing stuff, timing, hand-eye coordination. That's like 90% of it for most of it. So to be able to add that is awesome. It's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, like you said, we kind of every year we add something. I mean, we had the first hit track system in Saskatchewan, and we rolled that one out like 3 or 4 years ago. We use that every single day. We have the synaptic strobe goggles. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are fun.
Yeah, they flash, and you can. Yeah, it's a visual training tool that way, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so think of essentially having blinders on that open up and close. That's what they do. So if you're trying to hit, imagine trying to see a baseball, and you got like blinders coming on every half a second.
Like windshield wipers going in front of your eyes, basically.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to is, we can sit here and we can do the same thing over and over and over again and work on the mechanics and doing this, but we have to make sure we keep it loose for these players. Like a lot of them are coming out on a regular weekly, and it's one thing to just take their aimless 200 or 300 swings, but that's not going to make them a better hitter. That's just going to make them a better swinger. And what it comes down to is you got to hit a baseball. So we want to challenge these kids, and yeah, I mean, it seems to be working.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be working, and it is working because I've seen results of certain kids that, even if it's not that their swing gets better, but just their approach. It's such a huge part to a baseball swing. It's just knowing what's coming or being comfortable with the situation. But speaking of that, you haven't been out on the field a whole lot with your teams lately, and you have a planned trip coming up that hopefully doesn't get canceled.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So the last
tell me about that.
Yeah. So the last time we organized teams to actually go anywhere would have been March of 2020. And let's all forget about what happened in March of 2020. So we had 5 teams lined up to head south. And obviously all 5 teams had to back out. And aside from, I mean, obviously we had a really successful fall season in the Central Canadian Baseball League, which is, again, starting to already ramp up conversations, which just seems wild to me. But we're working on sending, right now we've got 3 teams confirmed for Kamloops. So that's going to be the first tournament we're going to be attending in over 2 years, which we're really excited about. That's going to be in April. So it's going to be a really good timing to prep our players right after they trained all winter, and then they roll right back into their regular season and they get some extra at bats. And yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Nice. I love it. All right, Chris, let's have some Major League Baseball talk before we let you go here tonight. And then we kind of mentioned, we were talking about this earlier, some free agency stuff. And there's some big names left on free agency because not everybody got signed before the lockout happened. There's still some big names. So if you were running a team, and if you want to put the Blue Jays into this, you can, but let's just say if you were running a team and you had a choice between Carlos Correa, Freddie Freeman, Trevor Story. I had to remember his first name there for a sec, or Chris Bryant. Those seem to be the 4 biggest hitters that are out there on the market. Now, I know they're all somewhat different positions, but let's just say you're starting a franchise with one of those 4 guys. Who would you want to prioritize on your team?
Oh, man. See, the part of me, the coach in me thinks, okay, you always want to work through the center of the field. So you need to have a solid pitcher, of course. You need to have a catcher. You need to have a shortstop. You need to have a center fielder, and then you work out from there. But so then I'm like, okay, well, obviously either Carrera or Story. And I'm like, oh, man, it seems like Carlos Correa would be the no-brainer looking at the stats. But then you're like, everybody knows what happened there. But then I'm like, Freddie Freeman. Well, yeah. So honestly, just because we all got to see Freddie Freeman don the Canadian jersey and he got an opportunity to win a championship, and he's just all around the most lovable guy with the best smile in the league. I have to go with Freddie Freeman.
That's such a So if you were the Jays, there's a ton of rumors, Chris, about Freddie Freeman, and just I think it's the Canadian thing that a lot of people want him to be a Blue Jay. Yeah. Would it work? I mean, he's a lefty. He's a left-handed hitter, which I think the Jays wouldn't be mad about. Yeah, but no, with Vladdy's coming along, and he had that huge year last year. Him being at first base now, does bringing in a big bat like that just to basically swap in and be a first base DH, does that limit the Jays almost? Because then they don't have the flexibility with that designated hitter spot.
I don't know. That'd be tough because you don't want to have two all-stars, 2 silver sluggers, 2 of the best first basemen playing part-time.
Right.
You need to have them both in the lineup at all times. And I think they've kind of gotten to a point where I don't think Vlad's going to be sliding back over to third base. I think he's found a home, and he had a phenomenal season, and he's the future, and I mean, Freddie Freeman still got a few good years in him, but as much as we'd love to see it, I don't know if I think it would limit what they can do, because then you're kind of fighting over 2 all-stars, right?
Well, and one of the biggest things that I noticed last year was they were so flexible with who they could throw in that DH spot. Yeah. So they had so many outfielders, right? They had, Gurriel, Grichuk, when Springer was healthy, and then Hernandez. Those are 4 good hitters you want in your lineup most nights. Yeah. So they were able to throw one of those guys in, or if, Espinal was having a night off where he wasn't in the field, they could put him in there as a little change of pace. So that kind of eliminates that almost. That's what I'm kind of most worried about adding a Freeman is you have to have Freeman in DH, or you have to have Vladdy in DH, because you can't take those guys out of your lineup.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
That'd be now you had a thought on Kevin Gausman earlier. We were talking the Blue Jays add Gausman, and you used some great words. I don't know if you want to say the exact thing, but
I probably said he's a dude. I don't know how many times. I mean,
yeah, he was that dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we hit it. They've wanted him for how many years, and it just never really worked out. And I mean, the guy's throwing mid to upper 9s, and the Giants were the best team in the league last year, and he was their guy. So the fact that the Jays could pick that up, I mean, everybody knows that they need a dude. They need a guy that can lead that rotation, or be a number 2 or whatever, right? I mean, they lost their Robbie Ray, so now they get a Gausman, and I think everybody loves to have all the big hard throwing lefties, but the guy competed in this, you could probably say the best division, but the second best division, because the AL East, let's be real, has a better offensive division. But
yeah, but he's been in the AL East. He was with the Orioles.
What's that?
He was with the Orioles, so he's been in the NL East or the AL East before. Yeah,
he knows it. Yeah, and I mean, he competed, and he won that many games, and he competed with the Giants against the Dodgers and the Padres, and those teams that were powerhouses too, right? So he's gonna be a good addition. It's gonna be exciting to watch a staff.
Yeah, and him and Jose Barrios are locked up for like 5+ years each.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Let's go. Chris, I'll let you go, but thanks so much for hanging out tonight, and we'll chat again soon, buddy.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Of course, Chris Untereiner, brought to you by Regina, RBI Baseball, and Softball Training in Regina here. Great partners of the SquadCast. Make sure you check them out. Facebook, Instagram, their website. Check them all out. And, if you have a kid in need of some training, there's your guy right there, Chris Untereiner.